Hey folks, a little windy and chilly out today, so I'm work on this here Fabricating metal brake. First thing I want to do with it is to make it so it'll stay on the table easily, be removed, and we'll hopefully just hang it up when it's not in use. So this is our basic table here we've had for years. So I welded some bolts with the heads trimmed on the inside, both of those brackets, and of course drilled the holes in the angle irons in the proper place. Put a little nib on there so they can only go in so far. And they just slide right in, so hopefully that'll do. Next step is to weld an angle iron onto the bar that sits there, and we'll go from there. Not sure if I don't think we're gonna need to bolt it down because it seems to sit pretty good. It's pretty heavy on that side. Might put a nut on there when using it. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I'll come back when I get to the next step. I'm not going to show you the whole process of welding and everything because it's just kind of time consuming, and you've seen enough of us welding, I think. So I'll be back. Alright, so this piece of angle iron, kind of notched it on both sides, nice and relatively straight. I cleaned some of this off because this was higher than the edges. This one was way a lot higher, so I ground it down. And don't want to take, sorry, keep moving. Don't want to take too much off of this because that's going to be some of my strength here while pushing down. It's going to be a piece over here to pull down that's going to come through on each side. So I don't want to take too much metal off of that. The next step is I'm going to weld this to this. I'll do it in a couple stitches across on each side. I think I'm going to put a little bit of sheet metal on each side to get a slight bow in the middle, because you know you're always working in the middle, and that's where it's going to have a tendency to come up. So I'm going to try that, see how that goes. Yeah, I've been thinking about this thing for a while. I've been running through my head on how to do it, so hopefully it all works out. I'll come back when I get to that step. Alright, so this is what I'm going to try here. I got a thin piece of, I think it's like 16 gauge there. Same over here to lift up the ends. And then I put a piece between the angle iron here to try to keep the angle iron straight. I don't want to already introduce a bend with the angle iron too. And of course I clamped it down. So I'm going to do some welds across and see how that goes. Alright, well, there's the welds. And then across the back. So, try that on for size. And so I'll show you what I have that I'm going to do on the ends here shortly. Okay, so I removed the metal. Oh, there. Wasn't thinking. That one was kind of stuck in there, so I just trimmed it off. But as you can see in here, I got a little bit of rock, which is what I'm looking for. Because when I squeeze down on the ends, it's going to have a tendency to, it's going to be nice and tight in the middle for sure. So it's going to want to bow up anyways when I squeeze down on the ends. I'll be back later with the next step. Okay, so these are the pieces I got at the hardware store. You get couplers, where this one is larger than the bolt, and I also drilled some of the threads out a little bit so that it would slide. This one is the same size as this one, which I forget what it is. This might be 3/8/16, and that might be 3/8/18. That might be, I don't remember, 1/2 inch 16 or something. I don't remember what the sizes were. I can figure them out though. I'll probably just put it in text on top of this. Anyways, this one was this size. I just cut it in half because I don't need it to be huge. And I'm probably gonna I'll either weld something on top of here with a little slide arm. Actually, it doesn't even. Yeah, just get careful. I don't want it to be in the way when bending the metal. But anyways, I'm going to cut a groove in this so that'll sit inside the groove and be welded to the angle iron and go all the way up against the bar, or close to against the bar. I'm not 100% figured out exactly what I'm doing yet. It might go all the way. I'll probably end up just welding it to the bottom of this because I have to watch out because of this. I don't want to mess up the spring. Anyways, I can weld a washer or something for the spring. The spring is going to push up on this bar, so I can easily get metal in there. This, like I said, going to get slotted in here and welded. And then this will come down on the top with some kind of tightening, maybe a small sliding bar, of that size, so that you can tighten down on it relatively quickly and easily. And this, I'm going to have one on each side, so that you can, my fingers are twitchy, so that you can adjust the bar forward and backward slightly for the thickness of the metal. Nothing too crazy, too fancy, just enough to get a little bit of, maybe a 1/8 of an inch of adjustment, which means I'm probably going to have to either split. I think what I was thinking was I'd split this coupler and then put a little bit of round rod in between it and weld it back together to get that extra. But I'll just put a little thing on each side so I get a little bit of adjustment forward and backward. I think that will probably be pretty useful. These are big bolts, so welding to that should be strong enough. And yeah, so I'm going to cut into there, and that is my plan. And when I get to that step, I will show you what it looks like. Alright, hey folks, continuing on with this. So, cut these grooves in so that these would fit in there. And they kind of line up at the bottom so that the bolt can be welded there. Of course, it's going to be this way because I'm going to trim the heads up. Trying it two ways. So this one I kind of shaved on the inside because, as I mentioned, I want to be able to have a little bit of back and forth movement. So that I'm trying one that way. And this one, the one for this side, I'm going to try a little different way. So what I'm going to do on this one instead is I'm going to take the bolt and I'm going to shave some off of it so that it's definitely tight in one direction, it should move in the other direction. So that's my plan. I'm going to tack these on and go from there. Okay, so this side is just welded. Tack that on, just tacked, because you know how stuff goes. I tacked this on, and as you can see right there, I got some adjustability, which is what I'm looking for. Plan is the spring to go under it, to be able to pull up on it to slide the metal in, and this will tighten down with some kind of rod, thumb screw or something. So that's this side. The other side I'm going to try slightly differently, because I think it'll be a little easier to do. We'll get there next. So I mentioned just a few minutes ago, instead of grinding that out, make it fatter and oblong, I'd cut one of these down instead on the other side, but I decided against that because I want a smooth surface for this, and then what's the chances of me cutting that well enough so it works out well. So instead I just oblongated this one like I did the other side, if oblongated is a word, but that's what we got. These are all welded in. Put a little nub there for the washer to sit against. This is part of a valve spring, I believe, so that's on there. Similar on this side, but when I put the washer in there, it was a little too thick, so I left the washer out. I could trim this a little bit more. I didn't cut it exactly in half. I had bought these springs, but not only are they too long, they're not springy enough to make it come up. So that's where we are here. And continue on. Okay, so I got that sitting on there. You can see it goes up and down like I want it to. I can slide a piece of metal under it, so it does that. These are going to sit on top. So probably the best bet would be to stick a washer on there too. Alright, so the thumb screws on there, so I got a little bit of adjustment here and there. Put them on the front too. I made extras, but I noticed that when you push the thing up, it hits it, so I have to either shorten them or figure out something else for that. Maybe I don't even need it. It might not even be a necessary thing. I got a piece of metal in there. It's on the thick side for this thing, so crank that down a bit. There we go. Nice to have something that I can make some angles with. I think this is like 16 gauge. This thing has to be made for that thick. Maybe 18 at the most. But that's what we got for now. I might put a bolt or something, weld a bolt or something on top of there to turn it, but I have to watch and make sure this doesn't hit it. So that's the issue I was kind of having with that. And maybe I can put a set screw in there or something. It's just 1/4 nothing too crazy. Yeah. Hopefully this will be useful to us in the garage here. Brings up and down. I might add a little more to that, washer it up or a little bit or something. I'll have to finagle with that a little bit. But I guess if I wanted to, I could weld a couple nuts on there with a pin that slides in and out. It won't hit it, and I'll have some be able to tighten down on it. But we'll see how it just goes with the wrench for now. One step at a time, and maybe it doesn't even need the extra. We'll see. Well, of course I can't leave well enough alone, so I tack these on. Yes, they're still hot. You can see. I can now lift it up. Tighten it down. Tighten it down. It's out of the way. Out of the way because I can move it. And yeah, pretty much. It's as I'm concerned, the final product right there. Should do everything we need it to do. Longer would be great. Heavy duty would be great, but this is affordable. Maybe, I don't know, $130 worth of stuff, if that, including the brake. Not bad. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks. Hey folks, so this is going to close out the metal brake video. I made those pieces with the brake. I did some other stuff too, so I got an angle there. Yeah, my welds aren't great, sorry. And two angles here. This is where this particular brake kind of fails, and I'll show you why. It's better than nothing, but still. Alright, so where this thing has trouble, I mean, just regular 90 degree or whatever, slight bends on a piece of metal that doesn't have extra bends on it, are fine and easy. But because this is so wide, and others I've seen are only like a ½ an inch solid thick metal that bent up, but this piece was long going down. Maybe I'll try and find a picture of one. Those work better because you can get angles right near each other. With this one, you have unless the angle is that far out, you end up opposite bending an angle you already created, unless the angles are of course going in the same direction. But like this was kind of my template for that thing. So you bend it that way, up that way, and then you try to get that in there to bend the other one, the second one. No bueno. I mean, I kind of wiggled it in there and got it to go, but I ended up just using a flat chisel with this angle iron, vice gripping the metal to here and just kind of going across it and getting the bend I wanted. Kind of similar with this, unless you bend this one. Unless your angles are the same, like you bend this one and then this one, the next one would go up, that wouldn't be a big deal. But because the angle is going in the opposite direction, there's this table, this bending part is just too big. So, if I do this, I'll add an addendum or something. But I'm contemplating, depending on if this becomes more of an issue or really annoying, we have some 1-inch solid core square stock, and at least 1 inch would give us a little better. If I would have cut this out, weld these onto the 1 inch, then maybe it would do it would be better. Well, it would definitely be better because that kind of distance would easily make it. Short one, I guess not so much. But anyways, that's where we're at. It's better than you know, as it comes from the store, of course. Way better than that, and it's better, and that would be better than nothing. But you know, if you're better doing a lot of bends, it's nice to have it as good as can be. Anyways, that's where we're at, and like I said, if we change anything, we'll update you. Thanks for watching.